We're going to talk about our home, our place of origin, and how does it relate to our conceptual understanding of our existence here on earth. When we think about why we're here on earth and what is our mission, do we really have a purpose or a mission on earth? And when we think about our existence, I would like you to think about, do you think you're here or you're having a temporary life? Or the human is designed to think that we're all eternal beings? What do you really feel on daily basis? We all understand that, and we say, life is so short, right? And when we think about the facts of life, we always say the only fact of life is its opposite. It's death, right? But we still wake up every morning full of hope. Yes. And we have a life, no matter how long it extends, we feel like we're still young at heart, right? We feel we're the same person. We only change as we look in the mirror or as we actually start counting how many years have we lived on earth, right? But the reality and the ultimate reality that each and every one of us, regardless of our culture, regardless of our gender, regardless of any human difference, we think that we're somehow living forever, right? Otherwise, we will all be depressed and we would feel powerless and helpless, right? And no one will be motivated to do anything. And that's the greatness and the ultimate mercy of our Creator. He created us. And when He created us, He did not create us like, or as He created all other creations, but He elevated all of us above all other creations, right? With the concept that we're godly. What does that mean, we're godly? We're not like animals or plants or the sun or the moon, right? God says, I created the earth and the heavens, right? And when He says, I created the earth and the heavens, it tells us and it gives us an idea that the earth is not really an insignificant creation of God. Among all galaxies and all planets and stars, the earth stands, right, with a highest regard and highest significance. Why? I want you to go back to the beginning, and that's in all scriptures, whether it's in the Qur'an, the Bible, or the Torah, the Genesis, the beginning of the creation of the human. It was not just the creation of the earth, but the human. When God gathered all the angels and it gave them the glad news of creation of Adam, right? He said, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalīfah. He did not name Adam. Adam is a symbolic person for all of us, Adam and Eve, right? Adam represents the whole humanity. So God Almighty said, I am making a khalīfah. What is khalīfah? Caliph. What is caliph? A representative, someone to represent God on earth, right? It was not just anybody or any creation on earth. If that creation was to represent God, do you think it would be mortal or immortal? What is God? What distinguishes God from all of us? That God is everlasting, ever being. He never died, He will never die, and He's immortal, right? So when we think about this concept of creating a representative on earth, that representative must be what? Immortal, right? That's the only thing. So, and that's how we're designed. We actually think of ourselves as immortal. But I want to ask you another question. When it comes to the creation of Adam, or the representation of humanity, right? Any human being, it's the first human being ever. Where was he created? Where did this dialogue between God and the angels about the creation of a human to be a representative of God, where did it take place? Where did it happen? In the heavens. Very good. Excellent. It happened in the heavens. So Adam, where was Adam created? Was he created? Did God descend to the earth to create Adam? No, he did not. So God created Adam in heaven, in paradise, right? In Arabic, what do we call it? Jannah, right? Jannah is paradise. Jannah. And Jannat or Jannaton becomes what? Jardin in French, which is in English, we use the hard G and we call it garden, just like the Egyptians use the hard G. Ganna, right? So Gannatin is garden or the garden. So Adam was created in the garden, right? In heaven, in a place that is so beautiful, so it's known of anything that you could think of, you can have it. And God told him, you and your spouse, اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة. You and your spouse dwell in this Jannah, in this paradise, and eat وكلوا منها وكل منها حيث شئتم رغدا, and eat from it from wherever you want. رغدا. What does mean رغدا? In abundance and joy. The word ragad refers to joyful abundance, not just abundance. So there is no sadness, there is no disability, there is no helplessness. There is actually power and empowerment, right? And he said, except for this particular tree, right? And I think about this concept because we say, oh, Adam fell into sin, Adam and Eve. In the Quran, it does not say Eve that led Adam or incited Adam to eat from the tree. It says that the Satan approached both of them, actually approached Adam first. And then it's completely the opposite context. And then he told him, don't I guide you to uh, eternity and al-khuld, shajarat al-khuld, he called it the tree of eternity. Why the tree of eternity? Because he knew that Adam was thinking of himself as an eternal being, and he wanted to be an eternal being. He did not know that he was already created to be an eternal being. That's the argument. So when Satan came to Adam to entice Adam to eat from the tree, he told him, should I lead you to shajarat al-khuld, which means the tree of eternity, وَمُلْكٌ لَا يَبْلَى, and dominion and position and power that never ever perishes, right? So we see here from the human psyche that we always want to keep what we possess and never lose it. But before that, we want to be eternal, right? Okay, so we see here that the creation of Adam was in Jannah. And I want you to think of the English word, and this is conceptual resonance, conceptual connection, semantic conceptual connection. The word Jannah and the word origin. What is does the word origin has the word Jannah in it? Origin, Jannah, originate, to be originated in Jannah, an original, right? It's the origin by Allah. El, it means, or El in all religious denominations, in the Torah or in the Bible, El means God, right? So it's the origin that's created by God, or the origin in the presence and with the presence of God. That's the original human being, right? It's originated in Jannah and originated to exist and always be inseparable from God, who created the human to be a godly representation of Him, God Almighty. Eternal, powerful, but also moral. Why? Because we understand that the word to create in Arabic, what is the word to create in Arabic? Arabic. خلق. Excellent. خلق. And now خلق is the root word, and it's a verb, to create. But what about خلق and أخلاق? What does it mean? Moral, and to be moral beings. So our eternity is inseparable from our morality. We could see here, for us to be eternal, we must be moral beings, right? This is a linguistic evidence. It shows in the Arabic language, right? That al-khalq from khuluq and akhlaq, right? So God created us. The whole purpose of our creation is to be moral human beings, right? Moral beings. That's why God said, I am making a representative on earth, so of me on earth. Why? So the earth is not a place like a forest, right? Where the strong oppresses the weak and big fish eat small fish. God said, I am creating a moral being with who has the will to be evil or righteous, yet they know that they have something above angels who don't have a free will, and they have something about other supernatural beings, which is jinn, right? Jinn also, among them, jinn is like the genie in English, right? Genie, the concept of genie, it's a supernatural being, but not like the angel. The angel has no free will. The jinn has a free will to be righteous or to be evil. And from the jinn, we see shaitan or Satan, right? Satan, and the word is shaitan from shata. And shata is to deviate from the straight path. Shat. It's like an offshoot. You know, in English, we say offshoot, right? It shoots out of the main stem or the straight stem, right? Do we understand? So an offshoot, not just shata, and shot also, which is to shoot someone, right? Why? Because the jinn is made out of fire, flameless fire. So when you say fire, you say actually in English, shoot. And again, I'm saying these are conceptual connections, semantic conceptual resonance, right? That you see that you don't shoot anybody for no reason unless if you have shaitan, right? You shot. Your mind went deviated from the straight path. It's an offshoot, right? So God here shows us that the human is a moral being who has a free will, and there are supernatural beings who have free will as well. And among them is Satan, and Satan chose to be evil when Adam by nature was created to be innocent and righteous. Why? I go back to the same point, logic that we discussed earlier. Why do you think Adam was created to be eternal? Because God knew what the angels did not know when he gave them the glad tidings and the glad news that he will create a human, and he will be representative of God. He will be godly. The angel said, are you going to create what and make that human representative of you on earth? Yes, to establish justice and morality, right? They didn't know, the angels, that the human was immortal. Why? Because the human was created to be a moral being, not to be immoral. And to be a moral being, that's your only way to remain what? Immortal. This is very, very, very important. Why? Because when we think of ourselves as mortal beings, always say, what is my morality? Because my morality is what will actually not only sustain my life, but it will preserve my life eternally, because I will be a mortal being. I will be godly being, right? And that's why we were created in paradise. So I want to think about paradise. When I think about it, I prepared a lot linguistically and scholarly, but I'm just going to use much. I know we have highly educated people and scientists and professors and engineers and chemists and ladies also here who are doctors and physicians um, and I really appreciate this, but I want to make this concept easy to understand. So when I think about Jannah as a place of origin, right? If it's my place of origin, then what is earth? A temporary abode, very good. A temporary abode, a temporary place of residence, right? It's not my place. And we see that all creations on earth are created and acclimated with the earth already. They don't need to wear jackets. They don't need to wear coats in the wintertime. They don't need air conditions, right? They're all naturally living on earth without no need because they're earthy. But a human is the only being on earth who needs to acclimate to the earth, because it's not our place of dwelling. It's not our place of abode. It's not our home. Our home is where? Is in Jannah. So I want to now to reverse the thinking from saying, oh, I die and then I may go to heaven or maybe hell, God forbid, right? Like all religious uh, I would say scriptures say there is heaven and there is hell, right? But I want you to think about, this is not my home. I'm going back home. So that makes it what? It makes afterlife is the only logical end of our dwelling or our short temporary residence on earth. And it makes it that I am an immortal being coming from heaven to this earth to establish morality, to establish justice. And if I fulfill my purpose is to worship. Again, abada. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create the jinn, the all beings, including the supernatural being, the jinn, or ins, which is the human race, except for one purpose, is to worship. But abada and abud, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, it's you whom we worship. It's not, that's the superficial meaning of it, is to worship. But how do we worship, right? Abada, abud in an avod in Hebrew, it means to work. And to serve also in Arabic has a holistic meaning. It means to worship, to work, to serve, to do the best work, the godly work that would actually make you immortal, that makes you godly, right? So we are here on earth to serve God in our work. In your work, you're serving God by perfecting what you do to the best of your ability. And then you ask God to help me, God, to do it the way that pleases you, that helps other people, not only me, to be knowledgeable, to be powerful. I'm not just empowering myself, but I am empowering every human being that I cross path with, because I want him to be powerful. I don't want him to be helpless and hopeless, right? So we are helping each other to be the best version of ourselves because we are always reminded that we are immortal, godly, moral beings who help one another to actually achieve that goal, not ourselves. Yes, oh, wonderful. So that makes us understand that our origin is Jannah, right, which is paradise, and our home, our eternal home is what? Jannah, right? We're here as a transit. This is our transit. Do we see how important it is to realize who we are? So now it makes death only the beginning, not the end. But God does not, when He says in the Quran that every soul shall taste death, He did not say that every soul will die, because the soul is immortal. Remember, He said to the angels, so if I create and fashion that human being and I breathe into him from my spirit, from my soul, basically rohi, which means it can translate as soul as well, rohi. فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ, then prostrate, immediately drop in prostration for this creation. So that creation is above angels. And the angels knew this. And Adam witnessed that the angels know that he has the highest status and he is honored, because God says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. We have honored the not just Adam, Bani Adam, all the children and offspring of Adam. So the human dignity is God-given, not a human given. Not a human, it's only we try to treat each other with dignity and care and respect, because a human being is created to be respected and dignified. So we understand here that when God said, I am creating a human in heaven to be my representative on earth, it's a transition, it's a transit, it's just a little transit in the journey of our lives. And our life originated in heaven, and it is ultimately going to end in our final destination, to heaven, to our home. So heaven is our home. Jannah is our home. It's not a place that we go to afterwards. No, we came from the Jannah and we're going back to Jannah. That's the only logical return that a human can think of. And I want you to think of the concept of death as كل نفس, every soul, ذائقة الموت. And what does ذائقة mean? ذائقة is to do what? To taste. Did not say it will die. When I tell you taste something, I'm not telling you eat the whole dish or eat the whole meal. I'm just telling you taste it. And death is, what do you think the taste of death would be? Sweet? No, it has to be bitter, right? And I'm going to give you again another linguistic semantic resonance with the Arabic language from the French language. Mourir is death in French. Mourir, and marir in Arabic, that's an Arabic word. It means what? Very bitter, very bitter, not sweet, the opposite, the ultimate bitterness in taste. So it's very bitter, but we're only going to taste it to see and bear witness on ourselves that we are eternal, and God did not want us to live in this bitterness forever. But He wants us to appreciate our immortality by giving you a taste of the bitterness of death, so we can live eternally grateful to God who actually made us immortal beings. But the only condition to be an immortal being and to remain and to continue to live eternally in bliss is to be a moral being. Morality. So our choice, the word choice, ikhtiyar in Arabic, right? Ikhtiyar, and you know it in Salatul Istikhara. from the root word is khayr. The root word is khayr. And khair, it means what? The ultimate care of God. Khair is the ultimate care of God, which is what? He guides you to make the right decision for yourself. Khair means good. So it comes out of goodness. So you see here that when I make a choice, if I bring God to my consciousness and say, oh God, help me to make what's good for me and what's good for others, then I make the choice of khair, which is what? Good and goodness. Do you see? The Arabic language, I question myself all the time why the Quran is revealed in Arabic, not in any other language, because of the holistic semantic field. Every word has a holistic semantic field that gives you a full story of truth that's very, very logical and convincing. It's not just you have to believe it blindly. There is no blind faith. If you're actually reading the Quran, it always says contemplate, think, find the evidence, follow the evidence, provide the evidence. So you are believing with strong conviction. You're standing on a solid ground. You're not just shaky because somebody told you. Listen, you have to have faith, iman, right? Because if you don't, you will go to hell. That's illogical, right? But if we say that iman means what? From the root word amana, which means to believe. To believe. And amn means inner security and inner tranquility. And amana means trust. So you're trusting God and you're a trustworthy person because you're not deceptive person. When you make a promise, you fulfill your promise. When you make an oath, you respect it. You don't break your promises. You're a trustworthy person because you are a person who lives in inner tranquility and inner security and inner peace. Why? Because you believe. So it tells us that the word believe is not just a word that you have to tell people you have to believe so you can go to heaven. You say, no, 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 no. I'm an immortal being because I'm created to be moral being. And my belief in God is grounded on solid, logical, and linguistic evidence that's called the Quran, because the Quran, the miracle of Prophet Muhammad, was not parting the sea, alayhi salatu wassalam, peace be upon him, was not just only parting the sea, which is so powerful, of Moses. And we will talk later about Moses in other contexts, that he was superhuman because he was perceived to be by people as having speech impediment. Yet he's the only one who spoke to God and talked to God. Look at the irony to show us that human perception is completely the opposite of God's perception, of the God's perception. So we cannot judge one another. Who's weaker? Who's younger? Who's older? Who's stronger? Right? Who's more knowledgeable? We have to respect one another and we have to share the blessings and the gifts that God gave each and every one of us. And this way, we could all be holistically, comprehensively powerful, educated, right? And believing together, helping one another to see why do we have to believe? Because we are only temporarily existing on our Mother Earth, right? Just as we temporarily exist in the womb of our mother. That's not our eternal existence. In the womb of a mother, we stay for 9 months, from 7 to 9, and sometimes 5 to 9, depends. But on earth, we stay for a very, very, very short period of time, and we reach our peak. And when we reach our peak and highest knowledge and wisdom and version of ourselves, we are ready to say goodbye to the earth. And I'm going back to my eternal abode, where I came from, in Jannah, my place of origin. Always remember, If you forget, even the English language has a semantic resonance with the Quranic language. Origin means paradise. Our origin, human origin, is paradise. From paradise we come, and from God we come, because God is in paradise. Is the ultimate morality, right? So that's why He's eternal, right? And to God we go back to paradise, to our place of origin, with our morality. So may Allah, God Almighty, help us to be the most moral version of ourselves. And that will come with prayer, connection. We're inseparable from God. And the connection is what? Salah. Salah in Arabic means salah, connection. And that's why when God revealed to Moses, He spoke to Moses, right? What did He tell Moses? Inni ana Allah. Indeed, I am Allah. Elohim. Ilah, El, right? Allah. If you add Al to El, it becomes Allah. The God. Al in Arabic, as in Spanish, means God, right? It means the. Al plus El, it becomes what? Allah. And in plural form for respect in Hebrew becomes Elohim. When God spoke to Moses, He spoke to him. He said, indeed, I am Allah, right? Inni an Allah, fa'budni. Then worship me, work for me, serve me, right? وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِذِكْرِي, and establish and sustain prayer to my remembrance, so you remain godly, immortal. So when we always remember what God promised Moses and advised Moses to do, what did He say? Worship me, establish prayer to remember me. And then He told him something very, very profound. إن الساعة آتية أكاد أخفيها لتجزى كل نفس بما تسعى. That the hour of the afterlife, the hour where, what is the hour refers here? What does it mean? الساعة. The moment where you will die, the hour, right? That hour, آتية, is approaching, and I am just concealing it. So every soul will be rewarded with what it strived for. So let's strive to be the most moral being and moral version of ourselves and help others to be so. Thank you so much. Thank you. May Allah bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate